Well, when you want to break down film, nobody better than Brian Smith, longtime recruiting analyst, host of the Portal podcast here at the Locked On Network. Brian, I want your thoughts on Bryson Beaver. And look, I'm falling into a classic trap as a podcast host for a specific team, and it wouldn't be my first time. It won't be my last. But the classic trap is my school that just got a 3-star recruit and is an elite recruiter. Got a kid who's a diamond in the rough. He's underrated. He's overlooked. Every 3-star is secretly a 5-star, and every 5-star is going to hit. That's the rule. That's of course the rule. So as long as I admit that, I think it's okay to preface my thoughts on Bryson Beaver with, I really do think this kid is underrated. Like, I watched this film and went, whoa, that arm is zippy. Man, like over 6 feet tall, moves pretty well, really, really good arm. He's not a super highly rated guy. He's been surging a bit. Maybe that'll continue, but like, why is he not ranked higher at the quarterback position?
I would imagine it's camps and 7-on-7. He's probably not traveled a ton. He's from out east of the valley, Los Angeles on the backside. He's an hour plus from Los Angeles. And he just hasn't traveled much. Most of the scouts are down south. There's a few in LA, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't gotten the same attention because he's not at Modern Day and he's not J. Sarah, one of those kind of schools, St. John Bosco, whatever. And that high school, I mean, I've heard of it, but that's not going to be a magnet for recruiters either. What is a magnet is watching his film and noticing the arm. And he did really well at Elite 11 with that too. He got voted strongest arm at Elite 11 finals. That's pretty much signifying what you and I saw on film. And when I saw that come up on an X post, I'm like, oh, okay. Confirmation. But what I also noticed is the same thing you did. He moves pretty well. I'm not saying he's Michael Vick, but I'm saying he can run RPO and he can extend plays. And that's fine. In today's world, that's what you want. Kind of like some of the Ole Miss quarterbacks, and matter of fact, Ole Miss recruited him. Guys that will split the defense every now and then if you're not paying attention, or pick up that 6 yards on 3rd and 4. That's what I see out of Beaver. Not saying, again, that he's going to be just electric, but he can run well enough. And he escapes and throws on the run pretty well. He's got some gunslinger in him. Probably needs to dial it back at the college level, I would imagine, because some of those passes will go the other direction. That is fact. But his arm strength gets really to the outside without any problem. Like, he throws it on a line. You can't teach the arm strength. It's not Jeff George, but it's really, really good. So I'm curious to see how quickly he can assimilate, because, I mean, your Ducks, they've got a depth chart at quarterback. Like, that's no joke. It's really impressive. But this kid's a little bit different than some of the other guys they've got, because, I mean, I know they got the one kid from Arizona that's a freak athlete, but he doesn't have
Luke Moga.
He's got a pretty good arm. He doesn't have Beaver's arm, though. I'd say this is kind of the happy medium in a million different ways. And here's the irony. How many times do you miss on multiple big-time quarterbacks and still get a guy you really want? Not just a throw-in guy. Oregon should feel pretty lucky, because where they're at, the reason they're missing, it's the same reason Ohio State. Now, these kids know they're not going to play. Like, Ohio State got the St. Clair kid last year. Good luck. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard. Oregon's depth chart's just deep. Good luck. It's the same thing. So I'm not surprised they got somebody. I'm surprised they got an Elite 11 quarterback of any kind, though. Kids anymore, the school's not as important as playing time. If I'm not playing, I'm gone. I'm sure Oregon will probably have somebody leave next spring at quarterback. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. But if you keep bringing in 4- and 5-star talents, on like his arms, conservatively, a 4-star talent, borderline 5-star, he might push somebody out of the way. And that's what you want if you're Dan Lanning. Hey, we're bringing in kids. Whoever wins the job, whoever wins second place, whatever, that's up to them. We just coach. But if you keep bringing in guys like that, your chances of success are much, much higher. It's a great job by the Ducks.
Yeah, when you watch this film, Brian, is he someone – I never expect a quarterback to start as a true freshman. And frankly, the timeline just doesn't line up for that. But do you see an area where maybe he does need to grow a little bit? Because we've seen that with Oregon quarterbacks over the last couple of years that I've covered here on the show. You mentioned Luke Moga needed to become a more refined passer. Based on the spring game this past year, looks like he is more refined. Everyone can always improve, but he took a major step forward. For Austin Novosad, he needed to put on a little bit of weight. Dude came out of high school and looked like he was 190 pounds soaking wet, if that, and he just looked skinny. And he's put on some weight. He's added a little bit of strength. When you watch Beaver, you mentioned the gunslinger component and that he needs to, be reined in a little bit. Is there anything else that makes you think, yeah, he might not be, capable of starting for 2 or even 3 years?
The two things that I always wonder about with quarterbacks, especially ones that have arms like him, are you going to learn the post-snap read stuff? We can't learn anything in high school because they don't teach. They don't even try.
Right.
And secondarily, when you have an arm like that, are you constant? Like if you watch his film, he's throwing off one foot, he's throwing to the side, this and that. At some point, you got to set your feet and just be technical. He's never had to. And some guys don't ever want to do that. Again, that's just an unknown. I mean, think of it this way. In the NFL, how many millions of dollars, like a team like, let's just use Detroit historically. They stink as a historic, and they're constantly drafting the top 5. How many quarterbacks did they hit on? 1 in like 15?
Yeah, it was Stafford. I mean, Goff has, of course, been really good, but Stafford was really it for who they drafted.
Yeah. And how many millions of dollars did they spend in research? It's hard. It's almost impossible because the post-snap read thing is by far the most important, especially the NFL level. It's about 90% of it, and you're guessing. Now we're taking a kid that's going to college. How's he even going to adjust to going away from home? You don't know. So there's a lot to figuring this out. But the way he plays, he's very confident. He's got some swag to him. He can run around and make some plays. He's throwing line drives, going against the grain to his left.
That was the throw when I was watching his. Yeah, I was watching his film and Ponatoski's the other day. And Ponatoski is, a guy who's got wildly productive stats in the state of Ohio. And when you watch this film, he just looks so in command, in control, and poised. I didn't see anything special with the arm talent. I think it was just solid and might need to, take a step or two forward to be a high-end college starter. But Beaver was running around, and when he was flushed right originally, went back left and threw back across his body on a line with accuracy, I went, whoa. That doesn't look like a guy who should be ranked outside the top, 700 players in the country. And he is starting to rise a bit. You mentioned Ole Miss got into the fold, LSU got into the fold. Like Oregon kind of discovered this kid late in the process, and Boise State's got to be sitting there going, man, are you kidding me? We had a steal at quarterback with Bryson Beaver, and he's going to Oregon instead. But I'm with you on the arm talent. But what do you make of the recruitment that he's undergone? It's been such a quick shift. Like 2 months ago, this is not someone I talked about on my show, and all of a sudden he's the Oregon quarterback commit for the 2026 class. How common or uncommon is this in recruiting?
With quarterback, it's less common because there are guys in the back offices of an Oregon, of a Texas, of a Michigan. Big part of their job, hey, we need to find all the diamonds in the rough because if we miss, we still got to get somebody. It's historically shown when you miss completely a quarterback, it usually comes back to haunt you at some point. Injuries, not having any experience, whatever it is. So for this to be like a kid from LA, more or less, like he's an hour or so outside, but that area is recruited for quarterback harder than any area in the country.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. But at the same time, it happens. I don't know. Was he a first-year starter or something last year? There has to be some kind of story behind it. I don't know what it is.
He's been a 3-star recruit in the 24/7 composite the entire time that I've discussed him here on the show. 24/7's own rating system, along with On3, bumped him up to being a 4-star once the Oregon, LSU, and Ole Miss offers came in, and that is part of the ranking system is who's offering you. But and it just feels to me like this could be a hidden gem, which is is the classic trap.
You just jinx yourself. Like this kid is going to absolutely fall in. If anybody wants to blame the future failures of Bryson Beaver, it is Spencer McLaughlin.
Oh yeah, throw it on me. I can take it. Brian Smith, the Portal Podcast, great as always.